Interesting. I'm going to pull two here. We have the eternal child and the vision. $10:11 on the clock. Interesting. So that was actually the date that I officially launched my YouTube a year ago, was October 11th. So that was very synchronistic for a reason. Take it how it resonates. It's also one of the angel numbers from the last few days channeled messages. And my timer said 15:55. Okay. And 15:55 is about new beginnings and huge change and transformation. So I'm on the journey with y'all. Okay. The vision and the eternal child. First thing that comes to mind for me with this: what did you dream? What were your dreams when you were a child? Because we were talking about ultimate wish fulfillment. What makes you feel like a kid again for some of you? Alright, so the vision here we have, I'm going to describe the card but in full, but first of all, it's like two hands holding in the center, top to bottom, of an Ouroboros, which is interesting because I actually channeled in a few hours before this message. Ouroboros as a totem, okay? That's the eternal snake or dragon eating its own tail. Also look into Legends of Ragnarok and Cycles. The World card is coming up in my mind's eye. Alright. There's a picture within this, but let me first describe the whole card. Okay, so these archetypes deck by Kim Krans, they are circular oracle cards. They all have a white border on the outside. This is card LV. I think L is 50, so that's 55. And I did say earlier that 55 was a synchronistic number. So if that rings true to you, this is specifically for you, about following your dreams that you considered a wish fulfillment as a child that's still called to you, okay? It's time to feed that vision. Perhaps your good fortune that you are hoping to obtain, or it's this new creative project for you with the Ace of Cups, not love, but like Spirit's giving you an opportunity to pour into this vision. Perhaps for some of you it's having the time and the stability to be able to focus on your crafts for some of you. And then the vow was underneath that. I just got chills, and that's about a promise. That's also like divine confirmation that they made you a promise for some of you. I don't know what that's about, but I'm not going to read into that anymore. So this card, after the border, on the bottom half, it's these lines that is in a circular shape, but it's only half the card. It reminds me of like a Colosseum steps in an archway, an upside down colorless rainbow, which is interesting because between the two hands above that, this card's kind of complex to describe, so definitely check out the blog post for the pictures if you can see. One of the reasons I like to do ASMR style is because I'm not just reading cards, I'm getting into the energy and describing it, so that way people who can only hear have a more enjoyable experience. I had one person chew me out because they didn't understand why I did, what was the point of tarot if it's black screen? Well, there are actually quite a few readers who do it that way, and I'm particular because I put more energy into how I describe things, okay? That was important for somebody. So these two hands, they're holding above and below the Ouroboros, and it's this rainbow circle around that. And within the Ouroboros is a mountain scene, which reminds me of the mountain card from this deck, which has come up very frequently, several times in multiple of my readings from 2025, okay? So there's one reading in particular, it's got kind of a rocky start because it's when I was still kind of new at doing collective readings, but if you skip ahead like 15 minutes, you'll get into it. I'll put a timestamp in it eventually. Anyways, it was called The Mountain and the Queen. So that reading, I'm feeling like for some of you might be relevant. You may want to check that out in the playlist. So it looks like the mountain card is within here. It's this rainbow sky in this depiction, and there's a crescent moon. So for some of you, this is a waxing dream. This is because it's a waxing crescent moon. It's something you're investing in. It's something you're growing. The Seven of Pentacles from earlier is coming up in my mind's eye. So this is something some of you are already working on. In another reading, I think I tapped into somebody was doing some kind of work that was more humanitarian, or it's a new concept, and it might have to do with children, working with children, or doing something beneficial for children. So this could be an expansion of that energy. If you remember that reading and it resonates, that this is confirmation that your plans are about to take off, okay? For some of you, this could also mean that this dream is going to become solidified with the next crescent moon from whenever you watch this reading. And if you want to know the moon signs, you can Google it. I'm not just talking about the astrology signs that I read on, but the actual phases, which is another thing I used to do in my astro offering. It's very in-depth. So these hands, behind them is this black darkness. There's these two tree branches, and on each side of the branches are owls. An owl on each side. Owls represent the night, the moon, hidden knowledge. High Priestess card is coming to mind, which is that deep psychic inner knowing. And it's above these arc-like lines, and it's black and white drawn lines. Underneath the bottom hand holding its hands is what looks like a penny, some kind of copper coin. Copper is about magnetism. It's also very water energy. It's got that yeah, it's a very emotional, old, rustic energy. Interesting. I just had a vision of somebody opening a restaurant that had a rustic vibe. That's for somebody. Anyways, that could be confirmation for you that this is going to be a successful venue. For some of you, it's like this is charging this dream that you're holding, that's this great stability, and outside of it is this like this knowing. And we've got the twin owls. They're not identical, but they're a pair, yet they're far apart. Perhaps this divine counterpart that some of you are going to meet is going to work on this project with you, or whatever it is you're dreaming of, okay? So that's pretty much that card. And then the Eternal Child, it's got that same black and white pencil-like lines, except it's all the way around the circle, the lines shooting towards the outside, instead of being in like an arc formation. I'm going to grab some more tea. Excuse me one sec. Heroes from Our Past by Dropkick Murphys just came on, and that to me with this card is making me think that somebody from your past encouraged your inner child, or at the time your actual child self, to go for this dream, this vision. And I'm getting chills. So that's somebody's loved one coming through to confirm. If you had a mentor, and if it wasn't your childhood, maybe it was your young adulthood, right? Or it was a stage in your life that you had this more childlike energy about you. We were talking about the different phases, the maiden phase, or the child, the son phase, right? This could be just about embodying that energy and knowing that you have ancestral support for it. If it isn't somebody that you knew in your life, it's people beyond the veil that are telling you, we got your back. We're fighting for you. Heroes from Our Past, and I'm getting full chills. Yeah, somebody's ancestors wants them to know. I did say I'm a psychic medium. I don't really do a lot of mediumship in my readings because I'm still developing that skill. Uh, and also because I don't want to channel a lot, thousands of people's ancestors in a collective reading. However, eventually I will add that to my services as a mediumship reading if that's something you're interested in. I'm an energy reader, and I can also I can read energies of places. I was actually considering seeing about some other opportunities with my local community as far as doing that with some historical spots. So, I've got a lot going on and a lot to discover. So, if you like my vibe, definitely subscribe, y'all, and I appreciate it. All right, so inside these lines of this child card, and it looks like it's card 4, 1B, right? 4. We were talking about Cancer yet again. Cancer rules the 4th house in your astrology chart, and that typically represents either the mother or your home, your family life, and also how you nurture and you receive nurturing. Now, I believe a few months ago in one of my astro reads, we talked about Jupiter in Cancer for the next year until summer of 2026, and expanding through the maternal, the nurturing, and how we are able to move through that inner child healing for some of you, okay? For some of you, the vision is healing your inner child, is rekindling it. And I've actually done inner child soul retrieval exercises. One of my other gifts is shamanism, and because I personally went through the healing journey with spirit, and I have different mentors that are coming into my life for that journey. It's not really something I feel comfortable expanding on yet, but I've personally retrieved parts of my inner child from different timelines and reintegrated those broken pieces in my healing, okay? This is part of the spiritual guidance I will eventually be offering. I felt like Spirit really wanted me to expand on my potential services because we are building a spiritual community here. For some of you, you want to help other people find their vision and help them rediscover their eternal child, as this card is called. Now, I don't typically read from the book, but I feel called to on the eternal child at least. Just one moment. This is going to be close to the end of the reading. I think we've already hit an hour and a half, so thank you if you're still here. I've been trying to shorten these readings a little. Eventually, I will be sharing these in extensions of the reading, so I'm going to split it in half, and you'll be able to purchase the second half of the quest in the future. But for right now, it is a free offering on YouTube for the collective. Alright, so definitely enjoy it while it's free. And for those of you that enjoy the experience, well, there'll be options to continue to give it back and pay it forward through the channel and the community. Alright, so the Eternal Child is page 68 and 69. 69 is the Cancer card. Yet again, Cancer. For those of you wondering, the Chariot card, the Moon card, typically the Moon represents Pisces traditionally, but because of the Moon associations in astrology, I always link the Moon card to also Cancer. Cancer and Pisces are both water signs as well. That could be relevant for some, okay? Alright, I don't read the entire book page because I want to encourage people to go out and buy these decks for themselves. So I'm just going to read what calls to me. Underneath the title is The Inner Child and the Child of Joy. And we have 4 symbols on the, we'll call it the northern upper left side. We have the infinity symbol, the 8, right? On the right side, we'll call it the east, we have an egg that can represent fertility, right? Something new is about to hatch. Infinity is like the flow of abundance, it's eternal energy, life force. On the bottom right, we will call it the south. We have a circle. Again, Ouroboros is coming to mind, which was in the vision card, right? Endless cycles, also ending of cycles. And for some of you, I'm hearing ending self-defeating cycles. On the left, bottom left, we'll call this the west, we have a spiral. So going in deep, going into the labyrinth. One of the inner child retrieval meditations I did was actually in a labyrinth. So if you feel called to that, just doing a meditation, it'll be really interesting to see what you come up with. Also, if you decide to do this work and you are a spiritual practitioner or on your path, if you feel confident enough to do it yourself, do. But remember to always cleanse yourself when you journey in this way, because you don't know what you could bring to that timeline or bring back in the healing journey, okay? If you don't feel comfortable doing this yourself, find yourself a spiritual guide. If not me, another, okay? And I don't do in-person services right now, but maybe eventually I will, okay? So over here we have, this archetype is so spirited that when its appetite for life isn't satiated, it seeks spirits and substance elsewhere. Oh my goodness. The eternal child struggles with addictions of all varieties. Wow, y'all, I just got chills. We were talking about the devil card. We were talking about ways that things have limited you. And for some of you, if you resonated with the attachments and that whole message with the everlasting light and everything, this could be highly significant to you to either do more inner child healing and work, or it's something you have done that has helped you along your journey. That could be further confirmation that perhaps the secrets to unlocking why you do toxic things is in your childhood. And again, childhood trauma can cause a lot of blocks, delays, and it can make you be attracted to certain kinds of energies. At the bottom it says, when light, joyful, playful, accepts all, magic, right? There's that pure, beautiful, childlike wonder, right? When dark, addicted, selfish, adrift, burns out, right? That's kind of like the karmic energies we're picking up on, these energies that are trying to siphon from you, either attention, energy, for some of you money. Be careful. If you have an investment, a vision, or a project you're trying to start, and you're considering working with this third party, that's another kind of a contract, right? Be careful. Be careful. Okay? Just be careful. That's another warning. To go deeper, look into Icarus, Peter Pan, and Rumi's Has Anyone Seen the Boy? Interesting. So for further discovery. I will read a little of this main paragraph because I feel called to it, and then we're going to move on to Kuan Yin and conclude this reading. Alright? Thank you again for being here. Y'all are amazing. And I know people know that a like button exists, and it, you know, super easy to just like tap it. Or leave an emoji in the comments, you know, even if the video didn't resonate with you. Drop a smiley face, drop a heart, whatever, drop a thumbs up. You know, the whole point of that is to, like, you know, I'm giving my energy, so there is a form of energetic transference. When you return that energy through a simple act of kindness like that, not only does it show the algorithm that my work is resonating with people and it will get circulated better, which helps especially a smaller platform. I don't need it, but I certainly really appreciate it, and there's like an even exchange of energy there. So if you're somebody who cares about karmic balance, really think about like the act of giving and receiving and how that benefits people or energies beyond what you expect to receive, right? Okay. So, the eternal child is connected to the timeless, ageless, and infinite aspects of life. It is radiant and fearless and seeks joy above all else, and at any cost. It struggles being bound to an aging body with physical limitations in a world that demands attention to detail. Wow, we were talking about the devil being in the details earlier. Hello. Lots of synchronicities there with that. Anyways. A world that demands attention to detail and logistics. The eternal child wants to mix all roles and responsibilities and go beyond what others say is possible. Interesting. One of my mantras recently has been, I believe in the possibility of the impossible. Think on that one. That could be for you. Alright, I'm actually not going to read the other half of this, because yet again, I want to support the artist any way I can, other than the fact that I purchased this deck. And I'm going to leave these cards in the pile to take pictures. For those of you that wanted to know, inside the lines of the eternal child, there is a cutout image of what looks like two child's hands. And it looks like they're holding something, kind of looking at something. Underneath the hands is like a blackness, and they have a black and white shading to the form. And above that is what looks like, I'm hearing cosmic sun. Interesting. Oh, I see. There is actually a flame, a candle and a flame. It's very faint in the back of the picture, but there's like this black rim and then a dark red shading and then this vibrant yellow ring around what looks like an orange sun, and then the flame of the candle is going up in that. I'm hearing eternal flame, your eternal flame, the eternal spark, the spark of initiation. Above that is another circle above the circle of the child, and it's a ray of rainbow beams. And rainbow, to me, it makes me think of optimism. It makes me think of wish fulfillment. It makes me think of dreams coming true. For some of you, interesting. I just lost that feed. There was something there, but the thread went away, so it wasn't meant to be spoken on here. Anyways, behind that is like this blue rim. It almost looks like a dark side of the moon. Interesting. For some of you, set your intentions to launch with the new moon. Oh, there it is. There's the download. For some of you, you might resonate with being a rainbow child. Look into that if you're curious. And for some of you, I am hearing starborn. I don't really go into all of the spiritual concepts and whatnot. Interesting. The nectar was kind of sticking out of the deck. The greatest sweetness right there. For some of you, start looking into your more sweet nature and how you can bring that out, especially if you're embodying Empress energy. That's definitely for you. Interesting. Okay. Well, I think we still have a few minutes for Kuan Yin. This could be a message that you carry forward for however long, the next 2 weeks before I do another reading typically. I do plan to do more readings more often in the future. But yet again, like I said, I'm really focusing on my writing. My writing right now. Whenever the months get a little colder and cozy, I like to really get into my studies and focus on my reading and writing more. Definitely imbuing that inner hermit. In my birth chart, my IC and Nadir, which is the bottom of the chart, it's your most private self, is actually in Virgo, which rules the Hermit card. And it's interesting because my midheaven, which is the opposite of that at the top of the chart, is Pisces, because they're typically polar opposites, right? and my sun sign is Pisces. So my most private self my whole life has been at odds with my sun, which shines to the world, right? But the thing about your nadir and midheaven, and 2 cards are actually here. Interesting. I may only take the first one. And it's called the Yin Empress. That's synchronistic. Huh. Okay. Anyways, the interesting thing about your IC and your midheaven is that when you master being able to take your most private self and utilize it on a public sphere, you can actually become successful in your work by being able to balance your most private self with your most seen self. And we're talking about how my personal astrology, which I use to help people understand astrology and the validity of it through my own experience. It's something unique to me. Not every astrologer will use their personal chart as an example, but I lead by example. So when I learned how to balance my most private self with my most creative, expressive self, I was able to shine in my work. Okay, so when I mastered the art of study and I found a way to bring that out to the surface by having a platform, by sharing my wisdom with others, I was able to shine in the mystical. This is also why my shop tagline is from the mundane to the mystical, because I actually have integrated my nadir and my midheaven and am using it to utilize my career. Makes sense? I can tell you more. I also give astrology readings. So, oh, and for those of you real time, I announced this about a month ago, but right now I'm doing a fall special. If you email me, I will apply a 33% off discount on all pre-recorded tarot readings. That's my fall special till December 21st. Perhaps for you, you can discover more about your inner child by booking a reading with me and going deeper. All right, so the Yin Empress, I will take a picture of this beautiful card. Thank you again for the one that gifted me this deck. This is now the 2nd deck that has been gifted to the channel, and I absolutely am just so grateful because I really enjoy showing up for y'all. And when I have some projects kind of settle in, I'll be able to show up more often for you. The Yin Empress. The Yin Empress brings peace, prosperity, and success to her beloved devotees. Your soul purpose includes healing and empowerment of the divine feminine, the Yin Empress herself. You gain power, assistance, and untold blessings in following your soul purpose. You are lifted and supported in your sacred work now. Be at peace. You shall thrive. Wow, that's beautiful and so appropriate. For some of you, learning how to nurture yourself also heals your inner child. I just got that. Now there's a 2nd card here. This may resonate with another group, and then we're going to conclude this, okay? Oh, how cool. It's called the To the Celestial Mountain. We were just talking about the mountain. So if that reading sounded interesting to you, and I'm getting chills as confirmation, definitely go check out my reading, The Mountain and the Queen, okay? Excuse me, confirmation burp. That's double emphasis from Spirit, and I haven't had dinner yet, so there you go. Definitely confirmation. The card says, you have the ability to invoke divine power to call to the celestial mountain so that you might be gifted with the spiritual energy you need to attain your goals. Permitting beings that love you unconditionally to help you is an expression of spiritual empowerment. You empower the divine forces that can assist you to come to your aid and help you manifest your visions. The card we also got was visions, right? And did I not say to you that a lot of people's ancestors were coming through trying to let some of y'all know that they are there helping you succeed in your wish fulfillment, and they are protecting it, and they're fighting for you. So use your discernment. This was a very interesting dynamic reading. Not my smoothest reading, but considering Mercury is going retrograde tomorrow, I'd say we did pretty good. So thank you everyone for being here.